Assalamu alaikum. Today on Norn Academy, we discuss a principle of Islamic business ethics through the parable of a merchant. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah. All right, let's dive in.
You know, this statement, it really gets to the heart of something huge about how commerce should work. It tells us that true value wasn't found in what was scarce, but in what was plentiful, and that was trust. It's a powerful idea, and it's exactly what we're going to explore today.
To really dig into this, we're going to follow the story of a merchant named Farid. He found himself facing a timeless ethical test, a dilemma that I think you'll find is still incredibly relevant today.
Okay, so let's set the scene. You've got this merchant, Farid. He's smart, he's a good businessman, and his warehouse is packed to the rafters with goods. But outside, in the hustle and bustle of the market, it's a totally different story. Rumors are flying, whispers of a shortage are spreading like wildfire, and prices are starting to climb. And right there, in that gap between what's real and what people fear, that's where his test begins.
And of course, his fellow merchants, they see this panic and they think, jackpot. Their advice to Farid is pretty simple and honestly pretty tempting. They tell him, just keep quiet. Trickle your goods out slowly. Let the fear do all the heavy lifting for you.
And this is where things get really interesting from an ethical point of view. Because, sometimes the most powerful deception isn't an outright lie. It's in the things you choose not to say.
Farid saw the playbook clear as day. He didn't have to make up a single false story. All he had to do was play along with the rumor. Just by strategically holding back his own supply, he could make the public's fears seem real, and in the process, make a fortune without ever technically lying.
And here's the thing. Legally, he was totally in the clear. No market rule was being broken, no inspector would bat an eye. And isn't that where the real tests of our character are found? It's not usually in the space between legal and illegal. It's in that vast gray area where the only judge is your own conscience, your own taqwa.
So this is the question he's wrestling with. And it's a question for all of us, really. When you stand to profit directly from someone else's anxiety, from their fear or their lack of information, what is that wealth really? Is it still pure? Is it still halal?
So, faced with that heavy question, what does Farid do? He looks at that easy path, the one paved with quick profits, and he turns away. Instead, he chooses something completely different, something that probably looked foolish to everyone else, a path of action and transparency. Instead of hoarding his supply and letting the rumors swirl, he did the exact opposite. He threw open his warehouse doors and invited people to see for themselves that there was no shortage. He put up signs with clear, honest prices, refusing to gouge anyone. And he started selling his stock steadily, not to prolong the panic, but to end it.
Now you can just imagine his competitors, right? Shaking their heads, probably calling him a fool for throwing away easy money. But Farid's answer wasn't about profit margins or business strategy. It was about faith. He knew that wealth is so much more than just numbers on a page. He was worried about the quality of his earnings.
Okay, so to really get what he means, we need to understand two huge concepts in Islam. The first one is rizq. Now, it's easy to think rizq just means our salary or our income, but it's so much more than that. It's the total provision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's our health, our families, our knowledge, our peace of mind. Money is just one small slice of our rizq.
And the second concept is barakah. Think of barakah as the secret ingredient. It's that divine blessing, that grace from Allah that gets infused into our rizq. It's the quality that makes a small amount of money go a long way. It's the contentment that comes with your wealth, not the anxiety. Farid understood that any profit he made from causing panic would be stripped of its barakah, leaving it spiritually hollow.
So let's actually put these two paths side by side. The path of just chasing profit versus the path of seeking barakah. As you'll see, they lead to two very, very different destinations.
On one side, you've got that path of scarcity. Sure, it offers quick, unstable gains, but it's built on fueling panic, and it earns you a reputation for being an opportunist. On the other side, you have the path of trust. The earnings might be more modest at first, but they're stable. It actually calms the market down. And most importantly, it builds a rock-solid reputation for integrity, and that earns you long-term loyalty, which is priceless.
And this is exactly how barakah often works in the real world. Initially, it looked like Farid made a bad business call. He was earning less while others cashed in. But markets and people have long memories. When the rumors eventually collapsed and the truth came out, who do you think customers remembered? They remembered the one honest man. They came back to him. Suppliers wanted to work with him. His business didn't just survive, it thrived, built on that pure foundation of trust.
But the tests didn't stop there. Sometime later, a group of other traders approached him with a proposal. They dressed it up in all this slick business language, let's coordinate supply, let's stabilize margins. But Fareed saw it for what it was, a plan to form a cartel to control the market for their own selfish gain. And Fareed's refusal was immediate and absolute. He was so firm on this principle that he actually wrote it down, like a personal code of ethics. He drew a line in the sand. If my success requires other people to panic, then what I'm getting is not rizq. It's something else entirely. It's exploitation.
And you see, by making that principled choice again and again, Fareed wasn't just building a profitable store, he was building something much bigger. He was building a legacy of trust that would ripple through that marketplace for years. This right here is the ultimate result of his integrity. It's amazing when you think about it. His personal reputation became so powerful that it actually acted as a market stabilizer. Years later, whenever new rumors of a shortage would start to fly, people wouldn't panic. They'd just ask one simple question: what's Fareed doing? And if his shop was calm, the whole market would settle down. He became the anchor of trust for the entire community.
And that brings it all back to us, doesn't it? Fareed's story leaves us with this timeless question, one that's maybe more important now than ever before. In our own lives, in our work, in our communities, whenever we hold information or influence that others rely on, we face the same choice. Are we going to be the ones who amplify fear for our own benefit, or are we going to be the ones who release clarity for the good of everyone? As Fareed's story shows us, true success, the kind that has real barakah, is found in building trust, especially when it's needed most. Presented and created by Noron Studio.